Today I'm going to be chatting with Anthony from J&K Engines, and I wanted to catch up with him on some really cool developments they have with their Powerstroke engine builds, plus a really cool project they've been involved with. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him today. Before we get to it, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors that help make this podcast possible. The first is Target Sports USA. If you're into other hobbies besides diesel trucks like myself, you like to hit the range, go hunting, do competitions, things like that, Target Sports USA has a really cool ammo membership program. What it is for $99 a year, you get free shipping on any order, whether you're ordering 1 box, 5 boxes, 15 boxes. If you're constantly doing orders, you know how quickly shipping could add up. So it's a great way to save some money, get free shipping. Plus, they give you an instant 8% discount with any order you place. There's also a lot of times when you're looking for a particular caliber, particular brand, you can't find it locally. They will give their members first notification when they get it in stock. So you'll get an email right away or a text message letting you know it's available, and so you get to purchase it before anyone else, before it even goes on the site. So it's a great way to make sure that you stay stocked up. A couple other really cool things they do for their members is you're automatically entered in to win 2 free giveaways. The first is an all-expense-paid hunting trip to Colorado. So that includes airfare, accommodations, the fee for the hunt, complimentary meat processing, and shipping back to you. So it's a great way to be able to have the chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime guided hunting trip. They also give away a brand new F-150 every year. And so if you're looking to keep some miles off your diesel truck or build something to go off-roading with, something like that, yeah, it's a great opportunity to have a chance to win it. Just go to targetsportsusa.com/dieselpc. Find all the details there. Also, our friends over at Kershaw Knives have a 40% off MSRP code for you. Use code TDP40 at kershaw.kaiusa.com. It's a great way to save some money, get some really cool gear if you need a knife for hunting, fishing, EDC, something around the job site. They got a bunch of different choices for different blade shape, blade steel, different opening mechanisms, different handle designs. So definitely make sure, head on over to their website, use code TDP40, get 40% off MSRP if you're in the market. All right, let's get to today's podcast with Anthony from J&K Engines, talking about Powerstrokes and also a really cool build that they were involved in. Anthony, welcome back to the Diesel Podcast. How you been?
Doing good, my friend. Pleasure to be here, Patrick.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since we chatted. I think the last time we talked, we had done an episode about the 6.3 Powerstroke, and everyone's like, what's a 6.3 Powerstroke? And there was like hundreds of thousands of people that watched that. So it was...
Yes, sir. I love it. I love the head scratch effect of the 6.3 stroker. You can't beat it, really.
For anyone that didn't catch that episode, because it was, I think, about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, what is a 6.3 Powerstroke?
The 6.3 Powerstroke is pretty much everything you can do to reliability to the infamous 6.0 platform and then some. We bore and stroke it, a few internal upgrades, some specialty machining, and we take the standard 6.0 to a 6.3 liter 383 stroker. Has a linear torque curve unlike anything in the industry. A lot of tuners drop their jaw when they see the power that you can build with just stock air and fuel. So great EPA compliant setup that you don't have to go and throw 50 grand in to make it a good, reliable truck.
Is it something that is geared up for like daily driving towing, or is it more for somebody who's looking for a bit more power, maybe on the street, or they take it to the track every now and then, or what kind of truck owner would run a 6.3?
Oh man, to be honest, we have everyone from your grandmothers who go and get groceries that just want the reliability to guys, pushing big power out of them. So realistically, it fits under a wide variety of applications, but if it's just somebody that wants the most reliability and to have something they can rely on, and just not have any fear in the back of their mind, that's really what the 6.3 is for. Because, you can keep it just a standard 6.3 build and have a great daily driver, great work truck. Then you want to throw in some Cali's Ultra Assassin rods or some Wagler rods, beef up that bottom end a little bit more, and you could push well over 700 horsepower with this platform without an issue. So realistically, man, it's for all ages, all genders. This is a great universal engine build, but it is geared as well to more performance oriented because it does come with everything blueprinted, balanced, every internal bearing coated, every piston coated as well. So a lot of extras you get with the stroker. So it's really just for, somebody who wants all-out reliability and have a little bit of fun with the added power.
And if I was, say I bought a 6-liter and, I'd probably be looking, I do love the way they sound. They sound really cool, but,
and you can't beat them.
And it's a great truck. Like the Ford platform itself has always been really solid. But if I was looking at doing an engine build, how would you guide me towards, say, doing like a 6 liter long block, a standard one, versus go into the 6.3? What questions would you ask me to determine which direction I need to go?
Well, the very first thing here, because all of our engines are built to order, not just the 6.3, but the 6.3. There's a really in depth in that process. But we figure out how you use your truck, and then we go from there. So a lot of guys want to push certain cookie cutter builds on guys, but my very first question, and a lot of guys like it too, is how do you use your truck? And that's something that some guys don't even ask, believe it or not, in this industry. So we figure out how they use it, we figure out a budget and their price point, and then we go from there. Because I mean, our standard 6.0 packages, everything standard we do. Our custom Manton chromoly push rods, heavy duty pistons, of course, the true ARP head studs. We have a lot of different options in there, but I'm thinking more so, we figure out how you use it and then we go from there. Because there are some components, that are a little bit overkill for some people. Now, when you're getting into a lot of performance oriented things, coatings, balancings, things like that, really geared for guys, either pushing the truck or guys that are working them hard on job sites, running PTOs, when they want all out, longevity of that engine, it really helps out.
I'm kind of right in between. Like I don't want the bone stock truck that, I don't really do much to, but I also don't necessarily want that like really heavy performance build either. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of everything. I'm finding I'm going back to my roots because what got me into diesel trucks in the beginning was the idea that I could have a truck that I could tow something with, I could haul a lot. It had plenty of room, but there were so many aftermarket upgrades that I could take it out to the track, I could have fun with. So I wanted it to do a little bit of everything. Is that where that 6.3 fits in? Like I could still tow with it, I could still haul, I could take it, to the mountains or off road. But if I want to clean it up, head to the track, do some things like that, that's where it can shine as well.
And that's exactly what it's for. It's for guys and gals who want to, they want to push the trucks and have some fun on the weekend, but they still want that reliability. And that's the thing, if you build your engine, if you're running around with just stock injectors and stock turbo, that's still great and all. But if you overbuild your engine, you're always going to get the most reliability out of it. And that's our standard builds. So that's what's good. Guys who are doing some upgrades with air and fuel, there's things we have to dial in there as well. But realistically speaking, man, a go-to package for us is our stage 2 long block. All it has on top of our standard 6.0 engine is the O-ring cylinder heads, our J&K O-ring heads, our stage 2 camshaft, and it has some high rev valve springs. So that's our hottest seller. And that's, and to be completely honest with you, 9 times out of 10, the high rev valve springs, things like that are guys that just want that insurance of it's, that they're never going to have an issue in the future. That's really what it boils down to.
I find that I have a tendency when I'm looking at, say if I'm looking at an engine, I'll, have a budget in mind, and I would make choices of, okay, I want to go, say billet rods, or maybe I don't need billet rods, but I'm going to go with these particular parts. Where it can get confusing, though, for me, anyone else, and especially if you're new to diesel trucks or you just got one and want to have some fun with it, is you mentioned overbuilding. Are there choices I could make with parts that, not just from a money perspective, but maybe from a reliability perspective? Like, say I'm going to keep this 6 liter at say 450 to 500 horsepower. Could I hurt the longevity of the engine by going with certain components that are really designed to go quick in a straight line, however many times a season, that aren't going to either handle the heat cycles, the cold, the heat, the 500,000 mile, 1,500 mile road trips? Are there any choices like that I would face?
Yeah, there are when you get to the real high horsepower echelons, forged pistons, really beefed up internals in the bottom end of the engine. The longevity isn't there, but those guys aren't worried about longevity. We're constantly rebuilding their race trucks every year, and just
Yeah.
they got cycles they're on, so they know that those kind of forged internals and the pistons. You think you spend 5-6 grand on a set of pistons, they last forever. It's not the case. Those high horsepower things really, and that's where guys, where we steer them in the right direction, because we're not here to run up a tab, make a ticket, build, here to retire off these customers. We're here to give you our knowledge and input on guys who've been doing this since the 6.0s have been out. So that's it. We really want someone just to be happy, because We know some guys want, all the power in the world, but if you do towing and it doesn't make it realistic, we just have to have a talk with them and say, hey, yeah, you want a good bit of power, but you're not going to get longevity and your EGTs will be through the roof. So then we kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of dial in the engine build that's perfect for them.
What's the Power Stroke engine building world been since we chatted last? Like, I haven't, really had in-depth conversations. Like, we've touched on 7.3s and 6.7s and 6.4s, and sometimes we're talking turbos or tuning or something like that. But has there been any major changes or things that have happened, or maybe requests you guys are getting, or seeing a surge with people wanting a particular engine, built or different upgrades, or what's it look like?
Man, the 6.3s stay very popular. We always get calls on 6.3s. We got more 6.3 builds on the board right now. We have over 100 engine builds on our board, so business is cranking like usual, pumping out anywhere between 15 to I'd say 14 to 15 engines a week here. So we're cranking them out left and right. Let's put it that way. But there has been a difference because now the 6.7s are coming off warranty. Those are finally, there's hundreds of millions of those trucks out here. 6.0 here for a few years. 6.4s were only here 3 years. So for how long these 6.7s have been around since 2011, we are finally starting to build a good bit of them and realizing the science and fixing all the OEM fail points from the factory and getting great life out of them.
I thought of another question to ask you, but it's kind of reversed a little bit because I get asked a lot, which Power Stroke should I buy, or which truck should I buy in general? But we're focusing in on Power Stroke. Which engine do you guys build the least? Because I'm thinking of somebody who's going to buy a truck, it's a used truck, and they're thinking, well, I don't want to do an engine build. I just want to drive this thing stock forever. Which one do
Yep.
you guys see the least?
Realistic, it's the tried and truth 7.3. The only thing on the 7.3, what we see is just loss of compression at 300,000 miles, right at about 300 to 325. Now, some of them last longer, don't get me wrong, but every engine built on our board 7.3 wise is they've just got high mileage and they have no compression and they're just worn out. They're just plumb worn out. Rings are just seeping and they're getting some blow by. So these guys are the 7.3s are what we build the least. That and the 4.5 liter, which is a V6 version of the 6 liter. 4.5 liter LCF or the International BT 275. They come in like a lot of box trucks, landscaper rigs. We do a big fleet in California of shred vehicles. They go to offices and big office parks, and they go shred up all documents. So those kind of box trucks, those as well. But 7.3 and the 4.5, not as much as the other engine builds.
When you're doing a 7.3, are there any upgrades? Like if somebody's got kind of hitting that mileage or they're noticing those things, what should they look for, pay attention to if they're going to do an engine build?
The main thing with the 7.3s are they're back in the early 2000s and the 90s, the castings weren't like they are today, this new technology. So what we see a lot is rusting, pitting, cavitation in the cylinder walls, causing a mixture of fluids. You're going to get a little bit of a coolant in your oil when that happens, and there's no way to fix it. So all of our engine builds come with our heavy duty, cylinder sleeves to eliminate that common 7.3 fail point, because that's realistically the only fail point we see in them, unless guys are building big power where we need to go, firing heads, girdle kits, billet rods, things of that nature. And we do those all the time as well. But, when you specialize in nothing but these power strokes, it's easy because, we got lots of inventory. So when everyone else is a big upcharge to go with the early model OBS, forged connecting rods, where here it's free of charge. We want you to have an engine that lasts forever. We don't want repeat customers. We want guys to be happy. So we'll upgrade you to forged connecting rods, free of charge when we know that you're going to be building a little bit of power, set a stage one full force injectors, or a little Hydra tuner on there. Then we know that what you could take advantage of and what you can't. But to be honest, man, they're stout. We do a lot of Comp 910 valve springs. There's those things in the industry that guys just want, like 6.0 customers. Some guys, all of our fleets, all of our shops just want O-ring heads on them, every single one, even though if they're not maxing out the payload. So, we get a lot of requests on 7.3 Comp 910 springs. Do a lot of the stage 2 cams as well, help out with EGTs, quicker spool up on that turbo of those older trucks. So the sky's the limits, honestly, but more so just standard builds with like I mentioned, we even use those custom length chromoly push rods in every one of those builds. The 7.3 is a really fun rigs. We've been doing a few of them here in the past, and they're great. They're great engines. I love them. There's nothing as simple as a 7.3.
It's I see a lot of builds where guys are pushing power out of them, whether it's the OBS body style or the 99 to 03, and they're making like power that forever it just wasn't, you didn't think a 7.3 could do that. Do you find that those guys, those truck owners, are pushing these things to such a level where you guys are having to say, okay, they're starting to break stuff we didn't see? They're calling us and saying, hey, I need it to hold, this amount of power. It's making this much boost. What's it like kind of stepping back 20 to 30 years and taking the technology and the precision that you guys are using on newer engines and saying, okay, well, let's look at this 30-year-old truck. So this guy can hold, 600, 700, 800, 900 horsepower on something that we didn't think they could make.
Well, I'm going to touch on that, but it's funny how you're talking about OBS trucks, because I'll go cruising down in one of these brand new 2024s and not get a head turn. If I take a 97, any OBS truck I take for a test drive, I got people stopping in the highway, turning over, looking at me everywhere, wondering. But man, to be honest, the high horsepower application 7.3 stuff is really quite simple, because there's like you said, there's not too many guys that still specialize in 7.3 stuff since I've been out so long. So realistically, you have a good main girdle kit. So instead of the like the 6.7, how they have the caps instead of a 6.4 and 6.0 style girdle, we take and we precision balance, line hone, and get the girdle kit on there. So girdle kit with some billet connecting rods and some beehive valve springs are really good. We use some Brian Crowell rods here that we have, and and we've had have great luck out of our high horsepower 7.3 customers.
Do you guys ever? This is what's such a short kind of production window, but the Powerstroke that was in the F-150s. Sometimes I'll be on YouTube and someone will say, "Hey, talk about the Powerstroke in the F-150s," and it's been really tough for me because it had a shorter production window, and I haven't necessarily seen a whole bunch of aftermarket stuff. But you guys are building engines, so if anyone's going to see that kind of stuff, it would be you guys. Do you get requests for them? Have you ever dug into them? Are there people making power with them? What's it like with the F-150s?
Man, the F-150s, we haven't dabbled in too much. They were there for such a quick spurt. We get more requests for building IDIs than the 3.0, F-150. So to be honest with you, we've never even had an engine in here to break down or inspect or anything. It was a very short run, and we just never had much requests for it. So I guarantee you it'll eventually be there, because there are a good bit of those trucks out. But as far as the F-150, I don't have much knowledge on.
I'm so glad you brought up IDIs, because I told you I was just going to throw questions at you and didn't prepare you for anything.
Yes, sir.
I'm seeing a resurgence in them. I'm seeing people talk about them. And you'd mentioned getting requests for engine builds. What are they asking for? What kind of power are these guys making or wanting to make?
Most of our IDI customers are just stock work trucks. Nobody really has requested any performance IDI stuff, but the only bad thing is, they're just making these components and parts for the IDIs hard to come by. So they're what they're doing is pretty much forcing people into new trucks. It's kind of sad, because IDI is a great engine, but there's the parts and supplies just to go and get core engines is dag near impossible. So it's a very hard road. Not, we could definitely machine. We built a couple of them in the past, but they were honestly kind of more of a headache than it was worth, just because it's nothing that we stock on the shelf like all of our later Super Duty 7.3 parts. So great engines, a lot of stock replacement, lots of work trucks out there, but just not, I guess, not enough demand at the moment.
I think that's a really good point to think about if you're wanting to get into an older diesel truck that you may not think about, is what kind of support is there. And sometimes the price can kind of pull you towards one side, where maybe you're looking at the older Ford trucks and you think, well, I can get this IDI way cheaper than I can get this OBS. Or maybe I get this OBS cheaper than I can get this 99 to 03. Which one should I go towards? And I think that's a really key part that a lot of people miss, and maybe even I would miss, depending what I'm looking at, is what is the aftermarket support about. So would you say that we go from like 94 to near current, there's a good aftermarket support, good supply of parts that you guys can access and build engines for, or does it vary a little bit per year?
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, there is, there's a lot more components in the industry for 6.0, 6.4, and 6.7. 7.3, it's out there, but I mean, IDI stuff is darn near, it's hard to find. The dealership, everything's obsolete through Ford. So they're making it hard. But yes, you are right. I mean, anyone can want the best intentions in the world and get a great deal on a truck. But if something happens and you can't buy parts for it, you're going to be, down creek without a paddle. So it really puts you in a sticky spot there with the IDIs. Like I said, great trucks, but you got to have either know someone with a few donor trucks, or you got to have someone that does nothing but IDI, because I just don't know of many guys who do. But that goes show too, when guys ask me, hey, I'm looking for a truck, what should I look for? I'm about bang for your buck. So I want reliability, but I don't want to spend a fortune if something happens. So that's why I got that '05 Excursion with the 6.0. I have 6.3 swapped in it with compounds. It's just getting painted, so you'll see that recently. It's going to be a real fun build. And my F250 also 6-liter, just because I believe I do like 6.7s, I do like 6.4s. I have a shop truck 6.4, but I mean, bang for your buck, I don't think anything in this medium duty diesel category really compares.
I'm going to take so much flack from my Cummins friends because that's kind of where I started out, but for some reason, maybe it's doing podcasts and talking with a bunch of different companies and enthusiasts, but I was scrolling through like Marketplace or something, and I'll scroll through there and I'll see some like 280,000 mile Cummins that somebody wants $25,000 for, or some 300,000 mile LBZ, and I'm like, I'm not buying that thing. But then I'll get down and I'll see like a 6-liter with 97,000 miles for a lot less than that, and I think in the past I'd be like, I'm not touching that thing, but now in 2024, and I mean for a while now, I think there are so many upgrades. There's so many things that have been addressed. I
Yep.
get 4-wheel drive, 4 doors, short, long bed, whatever I want, lower mileage. I see where it appeals, and that's one of the coolest things about the aftermarket is how it's embraced the 6-liter and come up with solutions. And even if you get something and the engine fails within 1,000 miles, there's places I can turn to build it and have something that's reliable. So they're gonna make fun of me, but I'm like,
Well,
that
that's
six
why I'm
liter.
happy about the 6.7 Powerstroke as well, because that's a great platform stock. I mean, amazing running vehicles, but they're fuel system issues, as everybody knows. So yeah, the DCR conversion just came out. But I mean, that's what's cool about a 6.0. They've been out for so long now. All of their tweaks have been found, and we can easily change it to make it from the worst platform in the world to in mine and a few other opinions is one of the best.
Once they're upgraded, this is where my mind went when I was looking at this truck. Once I do upgrades to it, are they really reliable long term? Are they good to go, or am I still going to have? And I know this is very vague, and there's a lot of variables involved. I'm just trying to get a general idea. Is it solid? From that point on.
Yeah. Well, even out of the factory, worse than the 6-liter, the 6.4. If we can build 6.4s for our own government, and they get 40,000 hours, which you equate the government goes in hours, so that's around 800 plus thousand miles that they put these 6.4s in the hardest stress and the hardest environment you can do, and idling for about 15 hours a day. If they last that long, then I can rest assured at night that my 6.4 shop truck or my 6-liter is going to run. So I think yes, once you do the right, and it does take a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of custom machining in the block, tapping old galley plugs instead of the press in. A lot of custom, internals. But when our machines are set up for only these few engines, repetition is key. It's really easy to keep quality control up and to keep the costs down.
I'll have to mull that over a little bit. Keep thinking on it. Those older trucks really appeal to me for some of the simplicity and things I don't have to deal with. So I'll
Yes, they
definitely.
are. Yes, they
Okay.
are. And you can find a 6.4 for a great deal as well. Because everyone there's, to me, I think it's kind of crazy, but there's a lot of shops that don't even touch a 6.4. So, and I get it, to each his own. Everyone's going to run their shop differently. But I'm never going to be afraid of an engine per se. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to realize what the weak points are and address that and get good life out of it. So, like I said, also, you can find some steal of a deal on 6.4s out there. and then make a really cool Cabela's edition. You can find yourself a Cabela's edition. Those are really nice trucks. I've seen one for the first time a couple weeks ago. Pretty cool.
I love the body style on those trucks. I
I know.
wish it would have went longer than 3 years because I
I know
really
that.
liked
I even
it.
swapped it. I even swapped it on my excursion. I put that 2010 front clip because I'm a sucker for it so much. So, yeah.
We were chatting a little bit before the podcast, and you told me about a really cool build that you guys were involved in. And I'd watched the video. I saw part of it, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch it all. I'm just gonna ask Anthony about it because I just want to be, I want to hear the details of what you guys are working on. But tell me a bit about that.
Yes, one of the coolest builds we've done to date. A gentleman by the name of Brian Scotto, co-founder of Hoonigan, reached out to us. A real big diesel shop that we work with out in California, 805 Diesel, put us in contact. They're working on his E-Series van. He has a 4x4 converted E-Series done by U-Joint, a really cool company out of the Carolinas, and I believe they have a location in Colorado as well. But they specialize in E-Series vans and converting them to four-wheel drive. So really, really cool one-off rig that me and Brian got our heads together with the guys at 805 and dialed him in a very neat 6L build. It's our stage 3 engine, so it comes with all the bells and whistles, every internal bearing, main rods and cam bearings coated. We ceramic coat the piston skirts to help with lubrication. Polymer coat the piston top to help disperse heat evenly to the top of the pistons. I mean, you name it, it's been done. Balanced, blueprinted, stage 2 cam, high rev valve springs, O-ring heads, you name it for longevity. It's been done because he's gonna be using it. It's a 4-wheel drive. It's a lifted van. Really, really cool. The whole series will be released here in the next few weeks. Installations going on very shortly. So on the Hoonigan YouTube page, it will be released. And man, it is really cool. It was, you chatted with Zach, my head engine builder, last time you were on,
Yeah.
Patrick, and we had him. I mean, we had cameras all over, head cameras, chest cameras, 2 time lapses. We got some really, really cool content coming out shortly on that build. And I was glad that Brian was able to let me release it because it's kind of been on the hush hush at the moment. But now that video is about to drop, and along with the rest of the series of that, and we love it because he calls it the church van. We are a family-owned, and operated company that's Christian oriented. So to be a part of the coolest church van build in the world, we couldn't pass up.
I've seen a few 4-wheel drive lifted vans here in Colorado, and they look so cool. They're really awesome.
Well, it's crazy. It's so ironic because we got done with that video shoot, and then what wheels in? Another U-joint 4x4 converted van getting the 6.3 stroker installed. So one of the cool. We have one on our lot right now. Really cool green color, hunter green color. So it is. We haven't really done any 4x4 converted E-Series, and now we're going to work on 2 of them within a couple months of each other. So really, really cool.
Is there much difference, if any, on the engine side building one for Super Duty versus an E-Series?
Long block wise, what we do, not so much. Components, intercooler, all the piping and everything is different. It's just so compact in the E-Series. But actual long block is machining and actual engine wise, no, there's no difference. They even made them in the E-Series for ambulances and vans all the way up until 2010 on a 6.0. So a lot of guys think if it's a 08, 9, or 10, that those are all 6.4s, which that's not the fact. In the E-Series, a lot of ambulance fleets, a lot of municipalities, they're still running 6.0s in 2010 vehicles.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to tune in and watch that. It's a really cool build. They just the stance that they have, and I think the utility that you can get out of one is really cool. And sometimes we get questions about like, hey, I'm working on my van. I'm going to do this with it, or want to convert it to that. And I know it gets a little tough with turbo and intercooler and that kind of stuff, but the actual engine itself, it's going to be pretty sweet. So I'm definitely going to tune in and watch that whole build.
We cannot wait until it gets released. There's a lot of work on our end too, and a lot of footage we've taken, so we can't wait to see what they slap together. It's going to be really, really cool.
At the beginning, you talked about the 6.7 Powerstrokes, and a lot of them coming out of warranty, or there's just more demand for them. Excluding the fuel issue, which I think the DCR pump has really kind of addressed that, and that's what people were really waiting for, was like an actual solution to a CP4 grenading. Are you guys seeing any things pop up, maybe not necessarily with power, but with time, like on a 2011, 2012. I mean, they've been out 10, 12 years,
Yeah.
higher mileage. Are there failures that you're seeing on the higher mileage older trucks?
There are a few. We have, a few one-off issues, dropping lifters, few one-off issues with cylinder heads having issues, cracked heads, things of that nature. But what we really see in the 6.7 platform, whether it be, early to 2011, the steel body, even up to the Illuma duties, they have line bore issues. So we take and we, line hone each of our engines as a precautionary measure. It's standard because we know they're not going to last unless, you line hone it. So that's, blueprint and balancing, getting all your cylinders aligned and aligned with a good line hone will address that issue. But man, days, I think when we first started the 6.7 builds, when they came out, we bought, we do our normal core buying in bulk. So we bought about 20 of them. And I think 15 out of the 20 very first 6.7s we bought all had spun mains. So it's sad in our industry because once you spin a main bearing, we're not ever going to patch anything up. We're not going to weld anything up or try and jimmy rig it. That's just not how we roll. So once the engine spins the mains, it's scrap metal. So it's bad for a consumer because they have to eat that core cost, and it's bad as an engine builder because now I have nothing to build and not as much inventory. So if we want to get 20 salvageable engines, we got to buy 40 cores just to make it work. So it's the name of the game. You got to spend some money to get quality and to get some inventory. But once you do that and fix those things, I mean, sky's the limit. 6.7 is a great platform stock. So you address those couple things, and we got some guys out there really having some fun.
I know this might be impossible to answer because you might not know who's sending the cores or you might not talk to them. But when you see common issues with, say, the 6.7, is it because people are pushing more power, pushing it to higher levels? Is it because they're not maintaining it, or is it just because of the metallurgy and because of the design and the thing has 3 or 4 or 500,000 miles on it that it happens? Are you able to kind of see a pattern with it at all, or is it just really hard to get because you may not, know where the core comes from, know why it failed, know the history of it?
We know a good bit of the customer cores, but to be honest with you, the caps are an issue. They're like, the 7.3s. Instead of having the girdle, they just have the cap. So of course, when a truck has 1,000 foot-pounds of torque out of the factory, what's going to happen? That block is going to flex, and that block is going to, torque under torque. So, so that's what I would say. The main issue is, and you can make them reliable, but once they spin, the only option is to go with a girdle kit, or like I said, balance. You got to balance and blueprint everything, your complete rotating assembly to get everything in line.
Thought of a fun question to ask you is you can only have one Powerstroke truck forever. You can't get any new ones. You can't do anything like that. But you could do anything you wanted to it. If you wanted to build the engine, transmission, do anything like that. Which one would you pick?
Ooh. To be honest, I would pick the 6.0. I would put our 6.3 in it and have something that still get stupid fuel economy, but then again can pull a house down. I do a lot of work with my trucks, so I'm constantly picking up customer trucks, hauling my boat in the summer. We do a lot of boating here in Middle Tennessee. It's land between the lakes where our shop is. So we work these things. So I'm thinking with the knowledge I have in the past, a 6.0 platform would be my go-to.
I think if somebody asked me that, it would come down to either the 7.3 or the 6 liter. And I think what would sway me towards the 6 liter, and I might be wrong, but I think I'm right, is I would want more modern kind of power levels or have the ability to take it to modern power levels. And I think that's why I would lean towards a 6 liter. I feel like it has more technology, more investment into the engines, turbos. I mean, just tons of different things where maybe I want it to have a little bit more power than a brand new Powerstroke. And I think it might be easier to get it there than the 7.3.
Yeah, and cheaper to get it there because the 7.3s are great trucks. You can build some mean power, but you're almost going to be spending the amount of a dang near the truck to get it there. So I'm the same thinking as you, Patrick. Bang for your buck, you still get that reliability, but then again you get the power. So, and it helps out too.
Definitely. Well, it was really cool to catch up with you. I know you guys are, working on really cool things, and power strokes are always a really popular topic. And there's so many different. I mean, we could just do an episode just on OBS or just on 99.3s
Yes, we
or
could.
just on 6 liters. But I always love to just kind of get caught up and see, what you guys are working on, what things are new, and give people ideas, to build these older trucks. And I'm sure there's a question I didn't ask you, or something that somebody, they got a specific question. They want to know, how can people reach out to you guys, ask that question, learn more about the builds, maybe learn more about upgrades and things they should do if they're planning an engine build or, a truck build in general?
Easiest way is just drop us a line. We're here from 7 to 5 Monday through Thursday, and from 7 to noon on Fridays. So please call us 615-758-7749, or reach me at any of my social medias. We're very active on socials after hours, via email, Anthony@JandKEngines.com. Multiple ways to reach us, and we would love to chat.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Anthony. We'll have to do this more often and talk about some more builds, maybe focus in on some of those year ranges or some of those components. But I appreciate you chatting with me today and getting me caught up on some Powerstroke stuff.
Man, always good chatting with you, brother, for real. I appreciate it.
Don't forget, diesel fans, make sure and head on over to Kershaw.kaiusa.com. Use code TDP40 for 40% off MSRP. It's a great way to save some money, get some really cool gear if you're in the market for a knife for hunting, fishing, EDC, something around the job site, around the house. They've got you covered with a bunch of different choices for blade steel, blade shape, handle designs, different opening mechanisms, and a whole lineup that's designed to meet any budget. We really appreciate them offering that discount code for you guys. So if you're in the market, use code TDP40, you get 40% off MSRP. Also, if you're into other types of hobbies besides diesel trucks, like to do hunting, competitions, go to the range, Target Sports USA, they have a really cool ammo membership program. So for $99 a year, you get free shipping on any order, whether you're ordering 1 box, 2 boxes, 20 boxes. It's free any time of year. Plus, you get an instant 8% discount. So it's a great way to save money on shipping and also save money on ammo as well. For their members, they also get priority notifications. So if you're looking for a particular brand, particular caliber weight, particular caliber in general, they notify their members first before it hits the website, so you have first chance to be able to get it. Part of being a member is you're also entered for a chance to win 2 really cool giveaways that they do every year. First is an all-expense-paid hunting trip to Colorado, so that includes airfare, accommodations, a fee for the hunt, complimentary meat processing, and shipping back to you. Plus, you're entered for a chance to win a brand new F-150. So if you're looking to keep some miles off your diesel truck, build something off-road, something to go point A to point B, it's a great chance to have an opportunity to win that. I also want to give a shout out to some of our Patreon supporters: Tyler Loewen at 23 Diesel, CUTTERUP Rob, Colby, J Cole, all of our other Patreon supporters, all of you who subscribe on YouTube podcast apps, follow us on social media. We appreciate all your support here in year 8 of the Diesel Podcast and look forward to bringing you more of the content that you want to hear in 2024. Until next time, keep the shiny side up.